Okay, today's daf is Yoma Chavhei, Yoma 25. The Mishnah says, Pius Hasheni, the second pious. It lists 13 things that were awarded to the Kohanim. And among those things it says, Umimale Varam Lekevish, Harosh, Regel. There were certain rights to bring different parts of the animal up to the top of the Mizbeach. So each Kohen got certain parts. Harosh ve'haregel, the head and the back right leg, v'shtei yadayim, and the two front legs. Ha'oketz ve'haregel, oketz is the tail, ve'haregel, and the left back leg, ve'achazeh, and the ribs, ve'hager and the neck, v'shtei hadfanos, two flanks, ve'hakirvayim, and then the innards, the intestines of the animal. That was the order that they brought them. The Gemara on Chavhei Amud Beis gives four opinions in the Tanaim, four more opinions about which order they brought up these different pieces of meat to the Mizbeach. We'll get into that in a second. Now the Gemara also has a shaila. The Gemara has a question. At the beginning of the Gemara, they did this piyus for the Mizbeach. They did a separate piyus for all 13 portions of the avoda, or someone won the piyus and the next 12 kohanim next to him would automatically get the other avodos. And the Gemara's maskana, the Gemara says, brings a brisa on Chavhei Amud Beis, Tashma Latani Rebichil, Lo L'chol Avoda Avoda B'Faisin, Al Kohen Shazach B'Tamid, Shnei Masar Achav Al Kohanim, Shach Nimo, Shma Mina. So you see that the Kohanim next to him, next 12 Kohanim next to him got the other avodos. Now it's interesting because we know that what is this lashon of pious? We discussed in the previous share in the Chav Beis that it could be that the pious Harishon was a race who got within 4 amos of Mizbeach. So is pious a lottery, or is pious really lashon? Pious is not a lottery. Pious is lashon from lashon pious, lashon of appeasement, of ritzoy. That there was a way of doing these things in order. It might have included a lottery, but the ultimate pious, the meaning of the word pious is from pious, is to appease Hashem, and you did it in the most respectful way. So therefore, the first pious, whoever got within 4 amos, the top of the Mizbeach. The second pious, like the Gemara says Maskana over here, it's not. That's the Gemara's question. Is pious lottery? So every 13 avodos gets its own lottery, or is pious includes a lottery, but it's also really pious that first you do it in an orderly fashion. The person who wins the lottery, the next 12 kohanim in an orderly fashion, you have the avoda after him. And then the Gemara continues in Chavhei Amud Beis, Yibaylu Mekabel, Shochen Mekabel, the Amar Zarek Mekabel, Agav Chivuse Lo Mekabel L'Kulei Dam, Odil Mazarek Mekabel. The Gemara has a question: who's Mekabel? It doesn't say in the Mishnah who's Mekabel Adam. If either it's the person who shechs the animal or the person who zorek the blood. So the Gemara and the Maskana of the Gemara is that the zorek is makabel the blood, but the Gemara thought maybe because maybe he's very excited by his avoda and he won't get all the blood. You need to makabel all the blood. So what changed in the Havmin and the Maskana? The Maskana of the Gemara is that the zorek is makabel and we're not worried about losing the blood. Maybe it's partially based on what the Gemara discussed before, whether is it a pious where every Kohen wins a lottery, so he's very excited, or it's not really a lottery. It's a lottery for one person, but the rest of them get in orderly fashion, so therefore we're not worried about him being overly excited, and he won't spill any of the blood. Now, there's a 4-way machlokas over here on Chavhei Amud Beis. What's the proper way of bringing the pieces of meat of the animal up to the top of the Mizbeach? How do we paskin? Who do we know to paskin like? The Gemara gives a clue, and the Gemara lists all the 4 opinions, and then the Gemara says, Amar Rava bein Tana down ben Rabbi Yossi Basra Ilui the Bisra as Lina. Rava says about 8-9 lines from the bottom of Chafayim Beis that we have a similarity between our Mishnah and Rabbi Yossi Aglili. That 2 of them share something in common. So already know if 2 share something in common, that's already 2 against singular opinions. So those 2, when they both go, whether the quality of the meat, you go based on you bring it up in order of the piece of meat with the most quality to the piece of meat with the least quality. And the Gemara says the machlokes is Tari Dan says Basar Ivra de Bisra, Amarazil Basar Shmana de Bisra. Our Tana and Mishnah says you go based on the size of the meat, and Rabbi Yossi Aglili says you go based on the quality of the meat. So it would seem to be, however we paskin, I don't know how we paskin, but it would seem to be like one of these opinions. Now, what exactly, just to clarify exactly what it is, the Tana Didan, our Mishnah, he says, first you bring the rosh. Everyone agrees you bring the rosh first. That's a pasuk. Even though it's not a good quality meat, it has a lot of bones in there. But you bring a rosh, like the Gemara says on the bottom, it says a rosh or a pidro, the rosh comes first. Next, you bring the regel. You bring the back leg. Why? That includes the tenderloin, and the filet mignon is part of the tenderloin. That is the most quality meat. Shtei yadayim, and then you bring the 2 forelegs of the animal, which is basically the brisket cut. The ribs is much later on. But Yossi Aglili says exactly not like that. Yossi Aglili Omer Derech Iluya Vayakar. Okay, it's a Derech Iluya. Rosh HaRegel, the Rosh, and then the Regel, which includes the filet mignon. HaChazer, then you go right to the ribs. The ribs, everyone knows, is the most quality meat after maybe the filet mignon. Filet mignon is not necessarily, it's hard to make it kosher. So that would be the machlokes over there. And that would explain, the Gemara says, and the further proof that we hold like Rabbi Yossi Aglili, the Gemara asks a question according to Yossi Aglili. The Gemara says in Rabbi Yossi Aglili Shita, V'shtei yadayim v'aksiv v'chol netach tov yarach v'ketach. Why does the pasuk says that the thigh, the foreleg, goes before the shoulder? The brisket comes before the shoulder of the meat. But Rabbi Yossi Aglili said that the shoulder comes first. So how do you answer that? The Gemara's answer, he bechusha. It's talking about a lean piece of meat that wasn't worked. So when the brisket is soft, it's a lean piece of meat. The brisket is better than the shoulder. Otherwise, the shoulder is better than the brisket. And now you have a lesson in the parts of the cow. Go out to your favorite restaurant and get the best meat.